Kutsala Employment Activation Program was meant for people like the ones I described when we started.
Yeah.
You know, you're waiting for a job, but you see a need.
Yeah.
You don't have the paperwork and the history, the credit history to get funding. Can we give you 50,000 Emalangeni to start that waste management project in your village?
FNB Eswatini has been actively involved in various social initiatives, and I think we started our conversation actually where you touched a little bit on some of these, particularly donations to educational institutions as well as healthcare programs. Can you share some details about the bank's community impact efforts as well as its vision for corporate social responsibility?
Yeah, we're a bank, but we're also a citizen, a corporate citizen that employs citizens.
Yes.
So at a very dry level, if I may use that phrase, we are one of the biggest taxpayers in the country. And we're okay with that. It's not an uncomfortable role at all, because the infrastructure that we've built this business on needs to be attended, maintained, expanded. So we do see ourselves as a fairly serious taxpayer, and we take that role quite seriously. We also see ourselves as linked to this shared prosperity conversation. It's not an option. It's not a nice to do. We have a clear accountability to the communities that we serve and to the customers that we bank to address social issues, especially those that can be contextualized and packaged, and you can more or less trace your intervention to outcome. Because that usually is where the noise is. We receive hundreds of requests every month.
I'm sure.
To support this or that cause. So we do invest in identifying activities and items that will have a lasting impact. So we've supported certain sporting codes. I know we would have liked to do more, but there are limits to what we can do. We picked golf because it also linked to a substantial portion of our customer base who were drivers, and it offered a connecting opportunity, drivers of the business or drivers of value. And it offered an opportunity for connection, and it was meant to promote a sporting code that we don't think, that we think actually had room for us to make a difference. I think other sporting codes already have owners who've done a fantastic job with them, and we appreciate that and we respect that. We also are quite invested in supporting entrepreneurship, because that again aligns with who we are. The jumpy innovators that can't sit still. So that is why we support the Entrepreneur of the Year awards, and we'd made a commitment to our partners in government that it's a fairly serious activity. We started a couple of initiatives around the Kutsala Employment Activation Program and child-headed households. Those were in-house developed solutions meant to address a clear need. So the Kutsala Employment Activation Program was meant for people like the ones I described when we started.
Yeah.
You're waiting for a job, but you see a need.
Yeah.
You don't have the paperwork and the history, the credit history to get funding. Can we give you 50,000 Emalangeni to start that waste management project in your village? So it was meant for opportunities like that, and it's been tough to make it work, but we haven't given up, and we want to bring it back to the discussions. And then child-headed households, it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I think in our country, it's been heartbreaking. When you see the pictures and you get the feedback, what these guys, get to visit, the interviews. And that was not meant to just feed. And so we focused on food, we focused on clothing, we focused on where possible school fees as well for those vulnerable kids. But a lot of that initiative was not so much around the material stuff. It was also around protecting these kids from abuse, potential abuse.
Yeah.
And especially the girls from making certain decisions too early in their lives. And I think it worked brilliantly. We are looking at reviving that and doing another round. So we do want to go back out to the market, to the community rather, to identify those families and be able to track the development of those. I think we also having conversations, and I've certainly been part of multiple efforts to identify young people. Some of them are already with the bank today.
Yeah.
From high school
Wow.
to this grooming and mentorship conversations that we do want to extend throughout the bank. And it's not so much around telling people what they need to do. It's around getting people to see what they may not have seen and to reduce what may be dreams into practical stuff that they can pursue. I know quite a few of my colleagues do that as part of their free time. And then I did mention anti-GBV projects that we want to reinvest in. We have partnered with the university around helping to develop technology students. And all of this has been great, but there's more that needs to be done. My greatest sense is that these things are not so much brand activities. They are citizenship.
Citizenship responsibility.
It's citizen responsibility. We have to find a way as the private sector matures to collaborate on some of those things. We are not against, for instance, as FNB, if there is an intervention that resonates with another corporate, that we actually pull these resources and provide a plan to make sure that this can run for a couple of years, as opposed to just relying on our input. So if we want to transform society, we can't just be competitive around help. I think help should just be part of basic accountability of your corporate citizenry, in addition, obviously, to the taxes that we pay. And then maybe last, we do not necessarily believe that solutions should always come from the government. I think the government is a path maker in a way, and an enabler in a way. A lot of the social solutions probably reside with the private sector. We've got the capital, we've got the ideas, we've got the energy, we've got, the resources, the exposure, etc. We just need to find a way to partner in solutioning for those things.
That's very, very encouraging, particularly to hear from CEO of such an impressive bank. I think I agree that there shouldn't be sort of competition for help, is the phrase that you use. I think once we get to that point of consensus, you're not competing for market share over how many people you're helping. We're transforming societies.
We sell services to people where we first require to know who they are, where they live, marital status in some instances, for instance, how much they earn. That makes it quite sensitive. So we recognize that